Hello and welcome. My name is Michael Wigge and I am a professional challenge seeker. So thank you very much for the invitation to speak here today. And I would like to talk about one of my projects, how to travel the world for free. I traveled from Europe to Antarctica, 35,000 miles without any money. So, and I'm sure that sharing my learning experiences about this trip can be very valuable for you today, and that you relate to many of these learning experiences in your own industry. But before I would like to start talking about how to travel the world for free, I would like to go back to 1983. Yeah, that's me in 1983, 7-year-old boy, back in Germany, born and raised in the German countryside. So back here at the age of 7, I look pretty like a happy child, but I was having a stutter. So as you can imagine, being a child who stutters can be very difficult. Yeah? To make friends in school, to get along in elementary school, having a stutter is something very, very difficult. And no one could really figure out how I could overcome that stutter. So luckily one day I started a game, and I wasn't sure, or I couldn't reflect that this game would kind of help me overcoming my stutter. I just started this game intuitively. So I saw this doorbell across the street. This is the doorbell of our neighbor's house, and I thought, wow, you know, it would take so much courage to walk over the street, just ring the bell, and if someone opens the door, just say, hey, it's Michael, the neighbor guy. So by imagining facing this challenge, I got really scared. I was anxious because it's something you're not supposed to do. But luckily, I did it one day. So I rang the bell, an older lady opened the door, and she was like, ah, you're Michael, the son of the neighbors. Here's like a chocolate, and how are you? And then she sent me back home. So for me, it was a huge success to have done this, to have overcome my fear and to have ring the bell. It was a great thing, and I couldn't stop doing this from now on. Because there were many other houses and many other doorbells, so I started challenging myself at all these other houses in the neighborhood. There was a certain fear, anxiety to really do it. There was always obstacles holding me back, but one doorbell after another, I could realize it's getting easier. The more I practiced doing this, the less scared I was. And you know what? Doing the doorbell game, I've overcome my stutter. It disappeared. So I grew up, I was a teenager, then I graduated from high school in Germany, and then I went to film school in England, in London, and I studied film, and I wanted to work for the media. So at the age of 24, I wanted to be like a reporter or a host for MTV, music television, but back in Germany, in Berlin. So I went to an audition and I got the job. So I was on air in Germany on MTV. And here I remembered the doorbell game, to face a challenge for change. And I told my boss, look, I would like to continue this, and I think it can be pretty entertaining for the audience if I have to face challenges, and it can be pretty good for myself to really continue growing. And my boss liked the idea, so we developed a game. It was pretty funny. So every week I could meet an A-list Hollywood celebrity, like here, Halle Berry. And I had to face a challenge during the interview. Like in this interview with Halle Berry, I had to pull out my eyelash, give it to her as a present, and see how she reacts. And as you can probably imagine, this can be something really, really embarrassing. So I was really nervous before this gig, but then I pulled out my eyelash, I gave it to her, and she was pretty happy. She's like, wow, an eyelash from a reporter, that's so awesome. And she put it in one of her very private parts. As you can see, maybe it's still there. Here another example. Angelina Jolie. So the challenge of the day was to introduce myself as a reporter from MTV, shake her hand, ask her questions, but continue shaking her hand to force her into the longest handshake in history. And I mean, I couldn't sleep the night before, 2 nights before. But I was so nervous. What can happen? Like her bodyguards can kind of like do the worst to me. This is Angelina Jolie, but challenge is challenge, I had to do it.
Angelina, Michael from Viva Television. How was it playing the role of a mom?
It was great.
I mean, you're much too young for a mom. I mean, come on. You could be his sister or his girlfriend. Okay, but not for the movie, not for Colin.
You know, it's funny, everybody else has been asking me the same question.
Okay, what did you answer before?
I get a very in-depth, serious answer, but I probably shouldn't give that one
No,
to you.
I really want to have the serious answer, Angelina. I'm really down for it, honestly. Tell me. Tell me. You cannot be serious.
You're a very strange, fantastic man, and it's very nice to meet you.
So,
Well, strange but fantastic man. That's it. So, and the strange and fantastic man was in the mood now to continue what I've started. So MTV was over at the age of like 28, 29, but I continued facing challenges. So I produced these travel challenges. I published them as TV shows in Germany, one here in America on PBS as well, and I published books about it. So here are a few examples. Is it possible to travel 2,000 miles on a razor scooter in 80 days? So I trained a couple of months. It was a huge physical challenge, and I went on this kid's pedal scooter 2,000 miles. It was a challenge with a lot of ups and downs, but I've made it, and it was an awesome experience for myself and an entertaining story for others. Here, yeah, wearing a sleeping mask. This was like a segment piece for a late night show in Germany, and they sent me to European cities 48 hours blindfolded. So I had to explore the cities 48 hours blindfolded. Incredible challenge. I mean, to just like find the Eiffel Tower by touch, by your hearside, that was difficult. That was a huge challenge. And obviously I was really scared, like hearing all these noises, cars driving by, buses. It was definitely a great learning experience to do this little segment show. Here, it was time now to start the big project, how to travel the world for free. And I planned this trip about 1 year in advance because I knew the challenge I'm gonna take is so huge. So here how I planned the trip.
A 30 to 35,000 kilometer journey from Berlin to Antarctica will be anything but a walk in the park without a penny in his pocket. The journey will take him across the Atlantic to Canada and on to the USA, hopefully taking in the Grand Canyon, through Central America, and eventually through Colombia, and finally down along South America. After traveling through at least 10 countries and practically all climates the planet has to offer, he will somehow find a way across the Drake Passage to Antarctica.
So that was the big plan. And during this year of planning, I learned 3 lessons. So, you know, I'm from Germany, and the Germans, they like to plan and organize and structure. Yeah, that's how everyone knows Germans, and this is how I've been raised, and I'm good in planning. I mean, just an example. If I want to meet my buddy back in Germany, my German buddy, you know, like just for a beer, he says like, well, we can meet like Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. in 3 weeks' time. That's how Germans like to plan sometimes. So, but I learned during this 1 year period before the trip that planning is essential, but I need to be able to be spontaneous because there are going to be so many unpredictable situations during this trip. So the mixture between planning and being spontaneous is the key for success. In your own industry, maybe give it a second and think about a situation where you needed both, being spontaneous and being prepared really well, and how much the right mixture has given to you. So the second thing I learned, challenge for change mindset. This was the actual key of the whole trip. So what is it? So I knew this is going to be a comfort zone leaving exercise. This is not going to be vacation. So I had to prepare myself to accept that I'm going to be out of my comfort zone for half a year during the trip. And how did I get that mindset? I wrote it down. This is going to be a comfort zone leaving exercise. Don't expect any day in your comfort zone. I will be out of my comfort zone on a daily basis. So I wrote it down hundreds of times until the point that I was like in that mindset. I didn't expect to be in my comfort zone at all anymore. So, and the third lesson I learned, positive belief system. So I went through my belief systems. So we all got different beliefs about ourselves, about the world, about others. And sometimes these beliefs can be subconscious. So I worked hard to figure out if there are any subconscious beliefs that are holding me back for the success of this trip. And there were. So one belief I figured out was that was like something like saying like, well, I'm gonna be annoying to approach all these people along the way and ask for food or accommodation. That's gonna be really embarrassing. So I figured that out, that I believed this, and I changed it to the positive. And the belief was, I'm gonna be a very interesting encounter during this trip because I have great stories to tell. So it was time to start. Hitchhiking, very easy, very basic exercise to start. And this person, Maurice, he took me 500 miles across Germany from Berlin to Cologne. Great start. Here I was already in Belgium, in Antwerp, and I saw this muffin in a bakery, and I was wondering, what would I have to do to get this muffin for free? And I couldn't tell that answer, so I went in to the bakery lady and I asked her, what do I have to do to get the muffin for free? And she said, tell me a joke. If the joke is good, you're gonna get the muffin. I told a joke, and she said, well, the joke wasn't good, but you still get the muffin, because you've done what I asked you during this trade. So we had an official trade, joke for muffin. And that was it. And from this point on, I knew that barter deals, the right trade, this is the key for success here. So in 11 countries, every day I went to restaurants, shop owners, or even individuals on the street, and I asked them for a trade. I would like to have a burger. What would you ask me to do in return? And people have all kinds of wishes. Like a restaurant owner says, get me 2 customers in, and then you get a burger. Trading was awesome, and this was a great lesson. To give before I take. And I can see this in my own business. Nowadays, that is important. And short term, I can see that people get along and be successful if they just take. Well, can happen. But those who give before they take in their business, on a long term, they are the successful ones. And I'm sure most of you have thought about this in your own business. How much giving will there be before taking? And it's huge. It's really huge. And this exercise during the trip taught me the right thing to do. So here I am on a cargo ship across the Atlantic to Canada. So I had to cross the Atlantic, and I got a job on a cargo ship to travel for free from Belgium to Canada. Great barter deal. So this was a trade as well, or my labor for a free trip. And here, this trade gave me incredible experiences. I had to do oil change at that machine, 23,000 horsepower. Incredible experience. I've never changed oil at a car before, so all of a sudden I changed oil at a 23 horsepower engine in a cargo ship. So this was an awesome experience through this trade. So here I'm already in Montreal, and great city, beautiful city, and you see me sitting down there with that little computer. This was how I got free accommodation. So I could log into free Wi-Fi, be online, visit certain social media, and some social media are designed for travelers and free accommodation, like couchsurfing.org. People have a profile, people offer like a place to stay for free, just to interact with other cultures. And so I could go on the social media, ask for a free accommodation, and people were interested in hosting me. I did this over 20 times during the trip, and here the same. A certain kind of trade is always welcome. Someone invites you to their house for free, and you kind of like show some interest in helping out, in cleaning the dishes and so on. So already in the United States, Ohio. So I decided to hike the state of Ohio. Really beautiful during the summer. And then I had to approach people, like what I said before. Like I trained myself to have a positive belief system, but also to always be out of my comfort zones. And this was necessary because I spoke to about 20 to 30 people a day for food, accommodation, or travel. Sometimes even 50 people a day. So here, while I was hiking in Ohio, I just approached all these people along the way saying like, hey, can you maybe help me, or could we do a trade? And this is Mark, Amish farmer Mark, who stopped, and he was pretty interested, and he said, okay, I give you a ride in my horse buggy, and we talked about their lifestyle, and I said, wow, you live without technology? This is like an opportunity, like a time travel, like a time machine. Your horse buggy is like a time machine. Can I stay at your house, please? I would like to film and cover you guys. And he said, well, we're very cautious about that, but why not? You seem to be a nice guy. You can stay 3 days with us in our barn in the village of Berlin. I started in Berlin at that time, and now I was back in Berlin. But this Berlin was a very small Amish community. And so I had this great opportunity to understand the Amish culture, how hard they work on the field, how happy they are in their community, and how little they have. So this was awesome. And I could get this insight because I had a proactive attitude. My proactivity approaching all these people was turning into a result that I could really have the best journalistic experiences ever. So being proactive is, on this trip, the key for great stories. In everybody's business, it is a must for sales and to find clients. If I wouldn't have approached the client, I wouldn't be on stage here today. The challenge for change mindset with leaving comfort zone, that helped me. Working on my mindset and my belief systems, that helped me to be proactive. And if anyone thinks, maybe I could still improve in my proactive actions, yes, you can train that to be better and to get better sales and get more clients. So at the end of the stay, the Amish were very generous. They gave me $100 and a bike. So I could ride the state of Ohio by bike. But then after 2 days, I realized I will never make it to Antarctica with that bike. So I sold the bike for $43 and I invested the bike money and the $100 from the Amish for a ticket in a Greyhound bus across the Midwest.